The Impossible Journey by Danielle Ackley-McPhail. Aloha Wonderwell gave me the world. She taught me to dream. The first I ever saw her, I came to the realization that nothing was impossible, nothing out of reach, not even the moon, nor the stars. She taught me I could do anything, and polite society be damned. The 3rd of June, 1924, Bombay, India. It wasn't all glamour like the broadsheets made out. There was nary a camera or reporter in sight. Not at first, anyway. My father was assigned to the British Raj, but we were housed at the Anglo-Indian Hotel. I was all of 10 years old and quite motherless, and thus already inclined to be a bit wild. I had crept from beneath the mosquito netting tending my bed, and gone in search of some water. Even at 4 a.m, the day already promised to be hot. But even so, I forgot my thirst at the sound of hearty swearing outside the kitchen window. I climbed onto the counter and peered out, not wishing to be seen. But I quickly jumped down and hurried out the door to the side yard, where a veritable giantess bent over what I was later informed was a Ford Model T, one of 3 embarking on the grandest adventure. At the sound of my footsteps, she glanced up and over her shoulder. My eyes went wide, and my mouth likewise, to see her, Miss Aloha Wonderwell, the first woman to drive around the world, standing there in men's breeches and an army tunic, with her hair pulled back in a tail. By the light of the electric lantern perched on the edge of the car, her hair shone like gold, and her eyes sparkled like dark blue diamonds. "Pardon my French," she said, with her mouth half quirked in a smile, looking not the least apologetic. I could not stop staring at the smudges of grease on her face. Twisting my arms behind me, I lowered my gaze and forced myself not to stare. "No pardon needed, Mum." Her laughter sparkled brighter than her eyes. "Hey, doll, how about you lending me a hand?" That was the first I ever held a spanner. It wasn't the last. For hours we tinkered on that engine as the sun slowly rose to outshine our lantern, with Idris, as she asked to be called, carefully explaining what each part was and what it should do. We both got frightfully greasy pulling that engine apart and putting it all back until the motor purred. Well, rumbled, more like. Model Ts were not known for their melodious voices. As we worked, and between the explaining, she told me of the wondrous places she had been, and those she would go to, waking in me a new thirst, one for adventure. "Bettina!" At my Aya's outraged call, I all but dropped the spanner I held and dashed back inside, blushing at Idris's throaty chuckle as I called back my farewells over my shoulder. The Wanderwell expedition left the next day. I was not to see my new friend again, not in person, but I carried that spark she lit in me until I could fan it into flame, though it took nearly a decade to consume me.